This episode is brought to you by Tina's Vodka.
My name is Whitney Bansin. I'm the CEO of the Wild Collective, and this is Her Table.
Now you see her.
You are magnificent!
Welcome to Her Table, the podcast that shines a spotlight on the badass women who are redefining the game. Join hosts Kate Foley and Megan Martinez as they unlock the secrets of success from the brightest female pioneers in the industry.
Welcome back to another episode of Her Table. We are here in Las Vegas in this beautiful studio at Level 9 with our beautiful director, Scotty, back there, him and Casey. We're so excited for our next guest we have on the show today, Whitney Bansin, the CEO of Wild Collective, one of the hottest brands we're seeing in sports right now, from the NBA to the NFL to NHL to WNBA. And I think she might drop some news on us today with some new places you're going to see her designs.
We cannot wait to welcome her on the show. She really does it all. She's been in Las Vegas for 25 years and was formerly at Zappos. So let's get to it. Whitney, pull up a seat at Her Table.
Well, I'm so excited you're on the show. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. We're so excited to dive into this. We love all things fashion, and now we're fashion and sports. So this is going to be like one of my favorite episodes because I love fashion. I love color. I love sparkly. Megan's wearing sparkly today just for me.
Yes,
I love
literally
it.
for Kate.
I love it.
Just for, I'm glad I didn't wear my lime green. That would have been amazing.
I know.
Next time we'll prepare. Usually we're in like blue and pink, so it's a gender reveal, and everyone's like, it's every time I'm like pink, she's like blue. I'm like,
Yeah.
Or
Kate,
with
you stayed consistent though. She's always wearing pink, but I try
or
to mix
black.
it up.
Yesterday I went the Grim Reaper and just went all black, and everyone's like, "Are you okay?" Like, black is classic.
Listen,
I was gonna say.
I love
I'm
a
not
black.
mad at a little classic black.
What are you wearing right now?
This is a cardigan that we did for the Milwaukee Bucks.
I love that.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, it's one of my favorite pieces. So it comes out this fall.
That is so
Ooh.
trendy, and I didn't even realize that it was a Bucks cardigan. That is what's the secret in making fashion for women in sports.
Yeah.
Key. Because you don't even know that it's like a sports team unless you like really look into it.
Right. You can kind of play it down, play it up like any way you want.
I love that.
Okay, so tell our listeners, how did you get into this? You worked at Zappos.
Yeah, so my background's a little interesting in terms of like how this all came about. I wanted to get into fashion when I was younger, when I was in like high school. But in Vegas, they didn't really have like fashion schools. It wasn't something that we had here. So it wasn't really an option. I did graduate early. I was 16 when I graduated.
High school.
High school.
Wow.
Went straight into UNLV.
What?
Studied business. And then after I got my business degree, I was like, okay, I want to do something in beauty, fashion, something of the sort. So I created a hair and makeup agency and styling agency in Vegas called One Luv Agency, which I still have to this day. We still do celebrities, and we have, you know, random people who roll through that, you know, hit us up every time they're in town. So that is still ongoing. And through the hair and makeup agency, I ended up getting contracted to do all the hair and makeup and styling portion for Zappos. So Zappos is based in Vegas, downtown, and I had a whole team there literally 7 days a week. So you name it, you saw something on Zappos, it was us doing it behind the scenes. And while I was at Zappos, I started to kind of ignite that fashion arm a bit more. I was like, okay, this is cool. Like, I kind of want to like do something. I knew like eventually we wouldn't be doing Zappos forever. Like there would be a time when I needed to transition into what was next for me personally. And I started to get into designing and manufacturing, doing private label collections for the hotels in the Strip.
Wow.
And then it was one of the hotels kind of came to me and said, hey, you ever thought about doing, you know, Golden Knights product? Because at the time, the Golden Knights had just touched down in Vegas.
Yeah.
It was a huge deal, but they weren't prepared for what was to come and the excitement from the city, really.
Yeah.
So all you could find was like T-shirts and jerseys.
Wow.
So at that time, a lot of my friends were going to the games, and it's like, oh, okay, like, what are you wearing? Like, what are we wearing to this Golden Knights game?
Yeah.
And there was like nothing available. Like you would walk in the stores and it was so basic and generic and a jersey, which, as you know, a lot of women don't love wearing a jersey.
Yeah. Well,
so
it's boxy. It's weird. It's long armpits. It's like not
It's
a
designed
vibe
for
most
men.
times. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So it just wasn't really speaking to me. And I was like, I could do something with this. Like I could create something here. And I literally fell down a rabbit hole. And here I am 5 years later.
It's so crazy because 5 years ago, it seems like this has been like 20 years in the making.
Mm-hmm.
How does someone get into this space that has the same vision, passion you do, but like, how do you get in that door? Because there's so many brands, there's so many designers, there's so many people that want to get into fashion, but fashion's a very small industry in itself. It's large, but it's small as far as the people that are actually executing the vision for it. How would somebody who wants to get into it, how would you recommend they do that?
Well, the way that the sports apparel world works is it's all about, obviously you have the big boys, you have all, the Nikes and Adidas and Under Armours of the world. And then you have a few smaller brands that have kind of come up since. But really it's a matter of coming to the table with something different, unique, something that no one else is doing. So the way that licensing is it's very exclusive contracts. So what you're doing, someone else can't come in and do what you do, but you can carve out different pieces of the pie that maybe someone's not going after or that there's a hole in the market. So that was really where we came in, is we went after a hole in the market that no one was really servicing. We were, going after that fashion forward consumer who for the longest time didn't really have a ton of options in the space.
Amazing. It's so wow. And when you say options, like what are those? Because I want our guests to understand, like, this isn't just t-shirts. Like you guys make a whole bunch of shit. Like what is on your roster that you're making right now?
Yeah. I mean, that's probably our secret sauce into what we do is we do a lot of curated collections. We do a lot of curated product. It could be like a one-off piece that we're only making for that team and that team only. We do leather jackets, we do denim, we do bomber jackets, we do really everything you can think of. Like we literally have a t-shirt that almost looks identical to the one you're wearing, but in black. So, we take these concepts and really make them on trend and fashion forward and really go after that consumer. They're looking for something unique. They're looking for something that if they go to a game, they want to be seen.
Yeah.
And we provide that.
I can't even tell you how many NFL games I go to. And I'd be like on the sideline before. And this is when I wasn't working. Like I would, go to games for fun. And I would go through different websites looking for women's fits to wear to the game. And I could never find anything. And so that's why when I saw your company and these other little companies starting to expand and grow, it is so incredible for women just like me who want to just have a nice fit that actually fits my body, just to see that out there. Now, when you were going from Zappos to then taking this leap and starting your own company, what was that like? And what was the licensing? Like, how did you even get into that? Because with NFL, I know it's a lot.
Yeah. It's interesting because the company was basically created right before COVID. So it was a really weird time. So I started to kind of get into it. We had just got the MLB license. So that was actually one of the first leagues that we did a deal with. And literally 3 months after me getting the license, the entire world shut down. Like literally, I had just flown back on a plane from Miami. And I remember being at the Miami airport and like things like you could hear rumblings of like, these people had just touched in Miami and they were like, are we going to be able to get on our cruise? Is our cruise going to take off? Like it was like, it was just a very weird time. Literally 2 days after we touched down in Vegas, the whole world shut down. So I had this license, but now
and all the time in the world,
and
nowhere to go.
And we literally had nothing to do. I mean, everything was shut down, right? Yeah. So I used that opportunity to kind of do a few things. One of the things we did is we actually ended up making PPE bags during COVID. So that was a little bit of a pivot for us to say, okay, well, I've done bags before. I can make bags now. And so we did the PPE bags across all of MGM Resorts properties across the country.
And what are PPE bags for someone who doesn't know what that is?
Yeah, they were the bags that they would have in your hotel room. It had like masks in it, hand sanitizer, all that stuff. Because
personal protection equipment.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
PPE. So in Vegas, obviously being a local, I mean, we witnessed the entire strip shut down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which was
I
absolute
still don't even-
insanity
like,
that
if
it even happened.
Well, and like if you think about it, everyone's like, did that really happen?
Yeah.
Like you question yourself, like, did that? I'm in Vegas last night. Did that really happen? You've like blocked it from your mind. You're
Yeah.
like, maybe.
So the best way for Vegas to kind of come back from COVID was really to make people feel safe.
Yeah.
So that was one of the ways that they did it is they were offering all incentives and anything they could to really like get people to feel comfortable coming back. Hey, we have extra masks. We have extra hand sanitizer. We have been, sanitizing all the rooms and anything they could to like get people to feel comfortable, right?
Yeah.
So we obviously played a big role in that in Vegas and, consumers coming back and experiencing Vegas for what it is. And then through that, we ended up taking money we made off of the PPE bags and we rebranded the entire company. So I knew that like, okay, if we're going to do this and we're going to do it right, I'm going to put all my eggs in this basket. Let me reinvest in the business. We actually hired Sasha Group and VaynerMedia, so Gary Vee, and they came in and overhauled the whole brand and we got new logos and new messaging and just really everything from A to Z, our website, all of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's so fantastic because it was such a pivotal time and so many businesses collapsed during that time. And here you are, a new business. Walk us through what the process is to get a license. Because I know what it is, but I want everybody to understand it's not easy to get a licensing partnership and it comes with a lot of handcuffs. So what is that process like? And then how do you navigate that? Like when it happened, you got the licensing deal for MLB. Well, they're not playing. So were you able to go back and be like, hey, we want a plus 1 year because we're just dead in the water? Walk us through what that is like, because I want people to understand how intense that is to be able to get that partnership.
Yeah, when you do a licensing deal, there's always a minimum royalty guarantee that you have to put up or that you have to guarantee you're going to do in sales. So for us, the MLB deal specifically, obviously the MLB was gracious enough to understand everybody was going through this. Now, let's also understand that I was in a much different situation than everyone else. I had orders from MLB teams. So I had about 500,000 in orders across MLB, but nothing had gone into production yet. So I wasn't out any money. I was just literally a sitting duck waiting for everything to kick back up. Whereas all these other companies were now sitting on inventory that they couldn't move. And honestly, they wouldn't be able to move for over a year. Some of these MLB teams were sitting on inventory pre-COVID for over 3 years before they could get rid of it.
Wow.
So then that also means that those teams are not buying new product.
Yeah, so you're
because
down.
they need to sell the old product.
Yeah.
So a lot of them were in a much different situation than us. So obviously we were very fortunate in our situation. But so MLB ended up working with us, which was great. We did through COVID sign more deals, which was the interesting part of it. We actually ended up signing NBA and WNBA during COVID.
And is it true that in order to get an NBA deal, you have to also sign the W?
Yes.
That's true fact. You can't just cherry pick. You have to have one. So when you go into budgeting, you're like, okay, my total budget's X, but I have to allocate X to the W, which in hindsight is beautiful because probably what you paid for the W then is insane to get now because of the growth and expansion and visibility for the W. So it's funny, as much as some of those people were probably like, well, that's not the avenue we want to go. And I was like, well, we love being here because your price today was not our price 4 years ago. But yeah, I think that's a fun fact. People don't realize that you have to do.
You have to do both. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And, that's obviously been for us, it's been great because we do a lot of WNBA product. We have really great relationships with quite a few teams.
Yeah.
So it's been a great growth process for us as well. But yeah, these licensing deals are they're very strict. They're very exclusive. You can never step on toes of a Nike or any of these other big brands. They really do a very good job, I will say this, on protecting the licensee. There'll be other licensees in the space who want to try and copy what we're doing. And the leagues will come down and be like, Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who you think you are doing this jacket, but like that is Wild Collective's
slap
lane.
of the hand,
Oh my
slap of the
gosh,
hand.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
like, this is Wild Collective's lane, and you're not allowed to play in their lane.
How did
And
you
I respect
define that
them.
though in your
Yeah.
contract? Because like this is all big time contracts, so you have to specifically choose the verbiage
Yeah.
very, very carefully. It cannot be broad. It needs to be specific. How did you
it's specific,
but
all
how
the
did
way
you-
down to materials.
really? Like,
Yeah.
Okay, so what is it? Tell us what that is.
Oh my God, this is so long though. I mean, so
It's 18 words, Kate.
Well, what's so cool about the Wild Collective is we kind of have created our own space in the sense of we do women's product, we do men's, we do unisex. And depending on the license, depends our distribution channels where we can sell it, and also determines what silhouettes maybe we can and can't do.
What does a silhouette mean?
Whether it's like a sweater or
Okay.
a knit or a
Okay.
denim or
Okay.
a leather.
Okay.
So all of those key specialty pieces are always in our contract. So anything leather, denim, all of that is just very unique to the brand, and that's
Yeah.
really what we do. But then, sweaters, cardigans, all that kind of stuff, we have like carve outs for those specific silhouettes in different contracts so that we make sure that we're able to kind of do what we do. But I will say this, Wild Collective does things no one else does. So we've been able to get approval on things that
Like what? Just give us the sneak peek.
the best approval was Steph Curry.
Okay.
So the Warriors, we have an amazing relationship with the Warriors, and they hit us up for a ton of stuff. And they were doing a gift with purchase situation with Rakuten, and they wanted to do their city edition had just launched, and they had all this new artwork, and they had this really cool art piece of Steph, and it was done hand drawn by an artist, and it just was absolutely amazing. And they wanted to use it on the back of a hoodie. And I remember when they reached out to me, I was like, I don't have player rights.
Yeah.
Like I can't touch this. Like
Yeah.
this is not in my lane. And they ended up going to the league and they got approval on it. And
Yeah.
so like,
Wow.
I don't even have player rights, but I was able to do this because Steph approved it.
Right.
Steph was part of it and was like, I'm down. Like they can do it.
That's so cool.
So that was like one of those moments where like typically you would probably be going to one of the bigger brands
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
And we got to do it. So that was really cool.
What's been the best part about this as you've built this company and grown? Like what's been a really high moment and a really low moment?
Highest moment, hands down, is probably just because I shopped the brand for so long as a young girl and even into my college days and even now. When I got the email from Free People that they wanted to do a collection with us, that was, I screamed.
Were you like, is this real? Like, wait, let me read it again. I want to understand it.
Yeah, I literally, the email comes in. My husband, who's the COO of the company, he's sitting across from me, and I just like scream. Like there was no other reaction other than to scream.
I would scream.
And
Free
he comes
people?
over and he goes, "What?
Are you okay?
Like,
Like, what just happened?
What happened?" I was like, "Read this email."
Oh my
And he was like,
gosh.
"Oh my God." And even like this day, like my best friend Katie knows how obsessed I am with Free People. And she was like, "You can literally die now. Like you can
But
die.
don't do
But
it.
don't.
But if you
like,
did, you'd be okay.
You've surpassed
Yeah.
all your dreams in that one moment. You're good."
Oh my gosh.
That's so cool.
That was probably like highlight just because I shop the brand.
Yeah.
So
How many retailers are you in right now?
a lot.
Okay, let us know because we need to tell everybody where to go.
Yeah.
Go shop.
So
but
we have we sell at Dick's Sporting Goods. So, and we're also launching a few more leagues within their House of Sports concepts. So I think those are going to be really monumental in the growth of just accessibility to great product.
Mhm.
They're doing something really unique over there. So that's been really, fun and cool to be a part of. We obviously sell on Fanatics. So that's fanatics.com, and that they pretty much run every league's, main hub of the website. We're in every stadium across the country. And then we launched a collection with Free People. We are working on product with Anthropologie. We're working on product right now with PacSun, which I'm super excited
Yeah,
about.
I love
So
PacSun too.
Yeah. Also Forever 21.
Nice.
what?
Doing it all.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
So there's a lot happening. There's conversations with Urban Outfitters, and just like really expanding the brand. And obviously everyone's right now is really excited to embrace sports, which is amazing. Like I could not have picked to be in this at a better time.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're wanting more fashion forward stuff.
Yeah.
So like it's just a win-win all around for the Wild Collective. And, you know, what we're doing that's really cool is each retailer we work with, it's a very unique collection to that consumer and to that retailer. So what we're doing for PacSun, you won't find at Forever 21. You won't find at Dick's Sporting Goods. So we're very methodical in the way that we do things and doing our product our way, but having it feel exclusive.
How are you able to kind of differentiate yourself from other companies that are trying to do what you do and like come up with like new fashion forward ideas that also blend with like the sports and like the companies?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is really coming from it with a fashion lens and also coming from it from the lens of we didn't have sports teams here. I didn't grow up with it.
Yeah.
So what seems very archaic to me in the industry is not something I was ever really aware of. So I think like the whole like t-shirt with the logo on it, call it a day, like that industry, there's a lot of people still believe in that.
Yeah.
But I came in from the outside because I didn't know what they were doing. I was like, this is so archaic. Why are you guys doing product this way? Like you could be doing so much better. Especially with like now, like where we are with fashion and trends and pop culture and everything, lifestyle, all the things. Like it just didn't make sense to me to develop product that everyone else is doing.
Right.
So, you know, even my husband was at an LAFC game yesterday. He's in LA right now, and he's in LA, some of the LA shops, and he's taking photos and stuff. And like, we're always coming up with new stuff and a silhouette that's really cool that we could flip to sports, or that has like a really cool element to it that we're like, oh, no one else is doing that.
Wow.
Yeah.
We can do something here. And again, for us, it's not that we're doing it for every single team. There is product that makes a lot of sense in LA, but doesn't mean that product makes sense in Milwaukee or makes sense in New York. And so that's the thing that I think is different about the Wild Collective is we differentiate the product.
Yeah.
It's not everybody gets this.
Yeah.
And I think that's been the biggest miss in the industry.
I think she's really actually what I'm hearing is she's made every guy's life that much easier to be able to buy gifts for their girlfriends, wives, partners, sisters, whatever. Because it's like, what do you get, you know, your sister for Christmas? What do you get her for her birthday? And if you have that love of sport, right? You're actually not able to get them something fun and unique that's not just like, oh, cool. Thank you for my book. Thank you for my t-shirt. Like there's so much more depth to it. You have young kids. How do you manage all of this? Because right now I'm hearing just like a whole bunch of shit. And I'm like, how do you sleep? Do you sleep? And like, how do you balance that? Because there has to be a balance. Not that it's healthy or achievable, but I'm sure there's a desire for balance like I serve. How do you balance that with all of these things going on?
Yeah, it's interesting for sure. Obviously, so my husband left his corporate job to jump on board with us and really help me grow this company. But I mean, there's no way I could have done it without him. I mean, it was to the point where I was running the whole company, picking the kids up from school, bringing them home, making dinner, doing their homework, and like he would walk in and be like, "Hey,"
Whitney's like.
And after 6 months of that, like pretty intensely as the company was just growing and scaling and getting more intense and bigger, especially when we signed the NFL, that was probably like the catalyst too, where it was like, okay, this is taking on a new level here.
I'm going to need you home before 5:30
Yes.
to help with a whole bunch of other shit.
Yeah, the NFL deals, you know, NBD.
And you know, I had piles of emails I still hadn't gotten to because my day would end at like 2.
Yeah.
Like it was so critical that I would miss all these like hours in the day being with the kids, which was great. But then I had to make up for it on the back end. Right.
Yeah.
So him coming on board was huge. He's like my number one fan. If he was not in LA today, he would be here probably with a sign. He's that guy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's
I
such a
love
fan.
that.
He's such a fan of what I'm doing, and he's just here to support. So he takes on a big role with the kids, especially with, you know, pickups and drop-offs and getting them to gymnastics and all the things. I'm still a big home cooked meal kind of girl. So I do all the cooking and he kind of cleans, and that balances
a fair
out
balance.
for me. But
If I cook, you clean. I like that.
Yeah. And we just, try our best to navigate this crazy business. I mean, every day before he came on board, he would come home and I'd be like, oh my God, this happened and this happened and this happened and this happened.
Yeah.
And then I would forget like 10 other things that happened. And then once he finally came on board and saw how crazy this industry is and how in the drop of a hat, something really big can happen.
Yeah.
He was like, oh my God.
But speaking of that, how do you keep up with that? Because there are moments, I was actually just with Anta yesterday, and they made an entire collection for Kyrie that was a championship collection that they had to have ready to go to turn just in case, that never went anywhere, but you have to have it just in case. But you don't know you need it till you need it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So how do you manage that from a production and a scale because of all your licensing, all your partnerships? You don't know who's going to win. I mean, I'm sure that there's conspiracy people that think that there's all plotted and planned 5 years, this, that, the other.
Right.
But how do you scale the business to be able to be at the right moment in the right time with the right product?
I think that's obviously one of the hardest parts of this whole industry is trying to be reactive, right? The one difference, though, about Wild Collective, different than a lot of the other licensees, is you need something handled or you need something approved. You usually have to go through 5, 10, 15 people to get an approval on something.
Wow.
Yeah.
With us, I'm the approval. So, the reason why the brand has grown so fast and why so many teams and retailers love working with us is because we're nimble.
Yeah.
I can make decisions in 2 seconds. I can get stuff in production in a second. I can do things that most companies just can't do.
Yeah. Because it takes so long.
The lead time is so long.
Right.
How do you feel do you feel a responsibility to contribute? Right now, there's all the craze of fast fashion and just overproduction and mass use. Do you guys do anything? Or are you implementing anything to help reduce waste or reuse, things that don't sell? Do you repurpose them to underserved communities? Do you guys do any of those programs?
So the interesting part of sports is they're still not quite ready for sustainability.
Yeah.
I've talked about it a lot. Would love nothing more than to have a fully sustainable company and be using recycled products and all the things. But the industry is not quite there yet. Do I think they will get there? Absolutely. I think we will get there. But I think we're still to be honest with you, I think we're a good 3 to 5 years from that actually coming to fruition.
Yeah.
So we do use recycled products in some of our fabrics. We did we actually did the first fully recycled collection with the Raiders. When we launched our collab with them, that whole collection was recycled.
Wow.
They didn't no one ever really talked about it.
Why?
But
That's so underserved. Oh my God.
I know. It was huge and no one really picked it up, but it was the first fully recycled collection in all of sports.
That's amazing. That's
so
such an
great.
incredible accomplishment. Now, what about for somebody, because yes, you got the license with the NFL and I'm looking and I'm like, I want to buy, shirts with this team, but you don't have the licenses for that team yet. How do you go about reaching out to those teams, to those companies to get those licenses?
Actually, when you get a license, you get every team.
So you do get every team.
You get every team. The only team you don't get is the Dallas Cowboys. So the Dallas Cowboys have to opt in.
Good old
basically.
Jerry.
Yep.
Good old Jerry.
And
Interesting.
typically with the Cowboys, they like to see you doing things in other spaces. They like to see you already with an NFL license, and then they kind of want to see what they can do with you. We do so much product with the Cowboys. It is one of my favorite accounts because it's stars. I mean, I could do stuff with stars.
And the colors are just iconic and easy to blend with
silver.
anything.
Easy. Anyone can wear it.
Yeah.
You can really do anything.
It's America's team.
And we have just a lot of fun. We're actually launching cowboy hats.
Oh, see, that's so fun.
We're going to have to get them and wear them.
I know. I mean, come on. It's the Dallas Cowboys.
You have to send this so we can wear it in a show.
Yeah. I mean, come on. It's iconic.
So
how do you
cool.
not? And that's kind of my point too about why we're so different. Why hasn't anyone else done a cowboy hat?
I think sometimes people are scared to try things to fail, right? And I think that's the hardest part about business is oftentimes you're going to fail more than you succeed.
Yeah.
So you just have to try and you have to try. And if you're like, okay, I didn't get it, pick yourself up and keep going. But I also think that's the consumer is it's interesting to watch things that when I was younger come back now. Like, yeah, I'm not wearing that again. I already suffered through that a long time ago. But there are some things that come back. They're like, I love this. I'm going to try this. But I also think it's about education of trying new things. Because from my experience, the consumer and the fan is sticking, like they are not going to try new things unless they're given the opportunity to try it and they've seen it on someone else or there's an influencer that's supporting it, right? Because no regular person is going to the store being like, I want to wear a cowboy crystal hat. But when they see influencers wear it or celebrities wear it, it's like, okay, well then it must be cool if they are, which is so weird about society of being authentic to yourself. But you need someone to tell you you can be authentic to yourself. It's such a microcosm of all that goes on, which is so wild. Speaking of wild, no pun intended, what's next for you guys at Wild Collective?
A lot. I mean, obviously, a big focus of ours is actually going international. So we are working with some Premier League teams.
Okay.
So that's something we feel is definitely underserved and is a great market for us. So we did a denim jacket for Manchester City, which, I mean...
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, you can start with Manchester City. I mean, sky's the limit at that point. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there with Premier League and kind of doing more stuff on the soccer side. Obviously, FIFA. World Cup is coming. It's going to be a big deal. Everyone's already kind of talking about it. We've been speaking with FIFA as well on developing product and doing some really cool stuff there. And then I think really the retailer relationships are what's really going to continue to drive the Wild Collective in such a cool, unique way. Because as big as we are, there's still a lot of consumers out there who don't know who the Wild Collective is and don't know what we do. So I think really it's a big focus of ours to have that reach and be able to be a household name like we are in every stadium across the country. If you go in, you're seeing Wild Collective. You're seeing walls of Wild Collective.
Right.
But really, honing in on when a consumer sees that W, our little W logo, like they know.
Right. The brand awareness. Right. I think that's it. It's interesting because I see so many opportunities for you guys to grow, but so many market spaces that you're just owning and dominating, and you're changing the culture. Like what you're doing is changing the accessibility to being different. And I think that's as you guys get in those different retailers and different spaces, it's like you're reaching consumers that don't watch sports, that might buy something just because it's cool looking. And now, fast forward it back to someone asked them, oh, I love your Green Bay Packers shirt. And the girl's like, I just liked it because it was green and bedazzled. And she's like, did you know it's Packers? No, well, who are you know what I mean? You're making the connection to sports while being in sports, which is not usually the norm. And not usually the trend. So it's really cool to see a brand drive sports business through fashion instead of drive fashion, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And what's interesting about part of so we have multiple demographics, obviously, that are our consumer base. Obviously, you have the fan, right? The hardcore fan that just
diehard,
loves it. But a second part of our fan base is the +1 fan. You're going to the games to be seen. You all look cute. You're not willing to sacrifice your fashion.
Check.
Never.
Check.
You're going to socialize, right?
Yeah.
You're going to hang out with people. You're going to have some drinks. You're there to be a part of the experience.
Yes.
Win or lose, do you totally care if your team loses?
Right.
It doesn't really affect you per se.
not.
But you're there for the experience of supporting and just being there with a group of friends or a group of people, right? And that's a large part of our demographic is the +1 fan.
Yeah.
So I want to ask, which product is your favorite that you ever released?
Oh my God.
I feel like we need to go to the warehouse and just see. It's like, you remember when Kim K went to her warehouse?
Oh, yeah.
And it was just a whole bunch of shit. And she knew where everything, she wore it, where it went, what it was, what year.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to go to Witt's warehouse because I feel like there's some hidden gems in there that we would be like, yo, this is amazing. But we just don't know exists because it was a different season or things like that.
Yeah. My favorite of all time, really? Oh, gosh. I don't know. I mean... I would probably be something cowboys. Just because I've been able to really like level up that retail in such a high level. Like we had this crystal fringe denim jacket. I mean,
So cute.
But does it affect, as we close this out, because I know production's come back in, does it affect what you make the price point and accessibility to it? Because not every marketplace price point can match the desire for a crystal denim jacket, right?
Well,
So does that factor in or does it not factor in for you?
well, yes and no. So obviously, the only thing about licensing that's interesting is you don't know how much they're going to mark it up.
Right. They buy it from you at a cost and then they can, but then you take the heat when it costs. Yes. Yes.
So, you know, sometimes there's multiple people who have to have a piece of the pie. And so in those instances, even though I sold it to them for X amount, they're selling it 72% markup.
Yeah. Wow.
So it just kind of depends.
Do you have
on
any say
where
in
you're
that?
selling.
Like when
No.
you're selling it? So you just, the price for them is the price and then what they sell it for it is, which is so, I get it, but it's also, like, let's just say what it is. It's annoying because then people think you, Wild Collective, are charging $75 for a t-shirt when really you're like, no, the t-shirt's $24. You see what I'm saying? And it's like.
There was one instance recently where a hoodie that we were doing was right under $200.
Shut the front door.
And I said something about it. And I was just told that.
Did it come with a $100 bill in the hood? Like, what are we talking here?
And I was told that it sells. So,
wow.
But I think
gonna keep
people
it
are
at
also that
200.
like, I have to have it because it's expensive, not because it deserves to be expensive,
True.
but it's that just status thing of like, you're wearing a $200 t-shirt. You know what I mean? A $200 hoodie. When in reality, we're all like, is that like where we really need to spend our paycheck? But it's the status quo of fashion, right? It's the typical one person wears it and it goes.
Yeah. So I dropped it at that point. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But I just, as a consumer, there's certain price points that make sense to me and other ones that seem a little
But that's also
excessive.
good because that's healthy because you care. You could easily not give two shits and be like, not my problem.
Well, the worst part is them coming back and be like, oh, that one collection didn't sell very well. And you're like, well,
it was $200 for a hoodie, you weirdo. Like, what'd you expect?
So, there's definitely instances like that. But for the most part, I mean, I think we do, for what we're offering and the exclusivity of it, I feel like our price points across the board are very reasonable in terms of what they're getting, right? Like when we do a satin jacket, it is not the same as when another licensee does a satin jacket.
Right.
So for us, we take pride in the quality of the garment.
I love that. Well, I've had so much fun having you on the show.
Yeah,
we have
so
two things we need to do. What is she's a cheat though, and we ask her what is her fit for success because she's in the industry. So this is the cheat. Like what is a fit for success? Like my fit for success is good American denim. And because I want to look like Chloe. She's got some new jeans out, by the way. I swear to God that they took I don't even understand it because I don't look like that. But you put them on and you're like, I feel like Chloe.
She looks amazing.
It's wild. It's crazy. But like, I love good American denim. I love anything that sparkles. But I also just love to feel polished. What's your fit for success?
I do shop a lot on Revolve.
Okay.
I'm not going to lie.
I love
This
Revolve.
rompers Revolve.
Yes.
Cute, yeah.
If I'm going somewhere, something's coming up or an interview's coming up, my go-to is always to go to Revolve.
Yep.
We are talking with Revolve as well.
Okay.
What?
I feel like in a couple months we're
Oh
gonna have
my
a whole nother
God.
show of like what's coming.
It's very early stage, but so that's probably like my go-to in terms of like fit. I just know I'm always going to find
fit there.
something awesome.
No.
And something different than like everyone else is going to have.
No, I think it's exciting. Well, we're going to send you to Good American to get some denim.
Amazing.
So I can't wait for you to try that on and see what you love with it. But then she's going to pair it with something
I
cute
know.
that we don't know about
I
from
know.
the warehouse that's just iconic. Can you please wear the denim with the crystal cowboy hat?
Yes.
I need that.
Makes the most sense.
When you're in Dallas.
That's definitely,
We're going to come with you,
I'm going
actually.
to
We're
a
just gonna
Dallas
tag
game,
along.
actually. So there's that.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying, tell us the date and time. We'll be the weirdos that are the plus ones.
We'll be there.
We'll be the plus
There you
ones.
Yeah.
We will. We have a couple questions from you from Tina's Vodka. We're going
Okay.
to send you home with some Tina's Vodka. So when you have those late days, you're just like, I know, dangerous. Although it is, no hangover.
Yeah.
It is gluten-free, non-GMO, super good for you vodka. if vodka can be good for you.
I love
think it is. God
It's
wouldn't
so
have made it
good.
if it wasn't meant to be
Listen,
good for you.
I'm Ukrainian descent,
Okay.
Mm.
so I feel like
I think it's there.
There's a lot of vodka in my in my past.
And your future, too.
And my future.
And your future, too. Okay. We're going to let you pick. We don't know what's in here. This is just for our guests to get to share a little bit more with our fans. Something fun about you. Oh, that's okay.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
If you could only eat one cuisine for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Can I just pause? Because
no,
I'm going to throw
you
back.
can't pause, actually, Kate.
Megan had this question one time and she said potatoes.
It's not a cuisine.
I know. I couldn't. I just love potatoes, and then it turned into potato tacos. But yeah,
Okay. Okay, potato tacos. Okay.
We had been drinking at that point.
So
I'll give
hold
it
on
to
though.
her.
Cuisine though is like a type of food.
Correct. Type of food. So there's a lot of room to go. You just have to pick the
I'm
delicatessen.
honestly,
Ooh.
I married a Latin man.
Mm.
I think I got to go with Mexican food.
Okay.
Yes.
Like Latin, Spanish. I'll
Yes.
take all of it.
Yes.
Spain, all of it.
All
Like
of it.
anywhere.
Tapas.
Yeah,
All of it.
tapas, all the things. I always joke too that I do feel like I was possibly Latin in my previous life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a little part of me
I can
that
see it.
feels like I might have been Latin. So yeah, I'm going to go with.
She's going to go do like the, what's the tree thing?
23andMe or something.
Yes, and you're
Yeah.
going to be like, I
Oh.
swear to God, this is true. So it's in here. We need to find it. And so I
Yeah.
can just
Some roots.
justify
There's
it.
it's somewhere there. It has to be. It has to be.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on the
Thank
show today. We
you.
loved having you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I'm so
Appreciate
excited
it.
for what's next.
Me
We're
too.
coming to the warehouse. It's
I know.
non-negotiable. We're
All
coming
in-
over.
All my favorite brands too. Free People and Anthropology, and now hopefully Revolve soon. I can't wait to see what you
Forever
do.
21
Yeah.
too is going to be super fun.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be super fun
That's
for fall.
going to be big.
So
yeah.
fun.
Pac Sun. I mean, there's
Sun
so
too.
much.
Yeah.
There's just
If you ever need any models,
much.
we'll just be the Forever 21 models. Revolve. We'll be
Yeah.
happy to do it.
Or Revolve, yeah.
We're
I
here
love
for
it.
it. We're
I love
here.
it. Just send me your size.
Love it. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
Okay, that was amazing.
Uh-huh.
And I can't wait to go to the warehouse just to say
Yep.
what it is. We're inviting ourselves everywhere we want to go.
Mhm.
She's like, oh yeah, we'll meet you there.
Mhm.
We'll meet you there. It's so inspirational to hear somebody who first of all, stop. She graduated high school at 16.
I know.
That was crazy.
That just shows like how smart she is, and that's why her business is doing so well.
Yeah.
It's because she's
She's about the
intelligent.
business.
Yeah.
Like she's not about the fluff. She's
Yeah.
about the business.
Uh-huh.
I think it's interesting to listen to her talk about how intricate all these partnerships are. And they
Mhm.
started, a lot of these brands fail because they can't figure out how to pivot.
Mhm.
And so she started this business right at the beginning of COVID.
Mm.
And then she flipped to go to PPEs because they needed to be able to have some type of a rev coming in.
Right.
And also she wanted to support her local community, which is just a testament to somebody that's able to ebb and flow with what the industry needs and where she's able to support it.
I think it's really cool too because she was not really a sports fan growing up just because she's been in Vegas and they
Yeah.
never had a professional sports teams for years. And what was cool is that she was coming in from the outside. So she had the more fashion design perspective, which is super unique because we know sports, it's logo, t-shirt, sweatshirt, and you're like, that's so boring, made for male. So
Yeah.
what she's done with the industry is just incredible. And working with Anthropology, Free People, PacSun, I'm like, girl,
Forever 21.
Forever 21, like that's
Yeah.
amazing.
She's in every stadium
yeah,
in the United States.
Yeah.
And now she's going to be
international.
international. I mean, I don't know how she sleeps. Like,
I don't
does
know.
she sleep?
No.
She has 3 kids, 2 kids.
Yeah.
She's got some kids. It's you watch people
Mhm.
who thrive in their business
Mhm.
and it just makes you want to be like, okay, like I got to step up.
Yeah.
I got to do more.
Yeah.
But I'm low key excited because you and I love sparkles.
Yep.
I'm bringing you to the color scheme. Like we literally.
I know. Look at what Kate's done to
This
me.
this could be Kate. Actually,
it
this
is.
could be Kate. But I feel like it's just so cool to see somebody thrive and drive business.
Mhm.
And the sports world is so male dominated. It was built for men, catered for men.
Yep.
And the women were just the afterthought.
Mhm.
And the women do 80% of the shopping in most households.
Yep.
So she's figured out how to make the +1, as she calls it,
Yeah.
right? the driver of business and the driver of influence. So it's like, I'm going to buy you a sweatshirt, but I'm also going to buy myself something. And I think that's what's really cool because in the world of fashion, it's hard to stay on trend. It's actually really hard to be ahead of the trend.
Right.
And the fact that she's the key decision maker, she can be like, nope, done, go to production today. Doesn't take 2 weeks of approvals. That's probably a dangerous game because if she clicks enter, like I click shop pay too fast sometimes. I'm like, no. I wonder if she like clicks it too fast, but she seems very confident in everything that she's doing and the business is just thriving. So it's really cool to see.
Yeah. And very decisive too. And I love that she can be like that. Like, I want this, I want that, and I don't want this. Yeah. And you're like, you go, girl. I love it.
So much pressure though. Like I would be like, did I pick wrong? Did I pick right? I think the part that was fascinating was that she can't control the consumer price point.
Right.
I don't think people realize that.
Yeah.
She can control what she manufactures and what she sells wholesale to. Yeah. But what the retailer sells it for and marks it up for is beyond her control. Yet she takes all the heat when something's so expensive. No one can afford this. It's not her.
Yeah.
And so I think that's like, but I also think she heavy as the head that wears the crown. She's like, that's just not me. And she's not carrying that energy.
Right.
But
I love that she also though like has that mindset where she's thinking about the consumer, the everyday person.
She's cautious of them.
She is.
Yeah, and she's aware.
That's great.
Well, I think part of it is just she's a woman. So we do things just a little bit better. But you know. But that's it for us here at Her Table. Thank you guys so much for joining in. We are so excited you guys are here. We love you guys. We thank you guys. Make sure you keep tuning in, subscribe. Thank you so much to our partners. Dry Bars on set, making everybody feel beautiful. Whitney got to go experience that this morning. Good Americans, making everybody be fit for success. Tina's Vodka is always a staple on our set and everyone gets to enjoy it. And then we also have Wild Collective now, thanks to Whitney. So we'll hope you guys love it. Check out our partners. We'll see you guys next time.